Hello guys, how are you? Welcome back to my classes. In today's class, we're gonna talk about expressing advice. Remember, we've been talking about these modals, and remember what a modal is. A modal is a verb that works as an auxiliary, okay? And this verb gives me the idea of necessity, advice, obligation, ability, impossibility, probability. Okay, so today, what idea are we going to work on? We're going to work on advice. Listo, el día de hoy hablaremos de consejos, ¿bien? Para quienes no sabían, advice es consejo. Entonces, ¿cómo dar consejos en inglés? Ok, using modals, usando estos modales de consejos. So, the first modal, which is the most common, is should. Should is when we think about advice, the first thing we say is should. Lo primero que se nos viene a la mente entonces cuando hablamos de consejos es should. Okay, guys? So keep that in mind. Now, the second thing is, well, remember, this is the most common, okay? Recuerden, ese es el más común, should. Así que generalmente el 80%, 90% de las veces, should es la manera en la que damos un consejo, okay? So, second model here, this is ought to. Ought to is another model to express advice, but this ought to is more formal, okay? This is the most formal way to express advice. And then we have had better. Had better is another way to express advice, and this is for strong advice. If you don't do this, something bad would happen. Something bad could happen if you don't do that, okay? So my advice is you had better do it or you have serious consequences, okay? Entonces, vamos aquí a aclarar las tres. El primero, número uno, should. Hablamos de qué es el más común, ¿ok? Número dos, ought to, es el más formal. Número tres, had better, es para dar un consejo, pero de una manera ya que si no lo haces, puede venir algo malo, ¿ok? Puede pasar algo si no haces eso. Es algo más fuerte, ¿ok? So, and what happens? Let's continue, guys. Negative. Let's talk about negative. What is the negative of should? The negative of should is should not, or the contraction is shouldn't. Shouldn't. Entonces, ya saben, ellos son modales, por lo tanto, no necesitan auxiliares para negar. Ellos mismos sirven. Entonces, should not, the negative is, the contraction, sorry, is shouldn't. Next, we have ought to. Ought to, we can, okay. What happens? Let's go back for a while. We have these three modals. Tenemos estos tres y de los tres, realmente el que más usamos casi siempre es should. Ought to se puede usar, had better se puede usar, claro que sí. Pero de hecho, ought to para negativo no suena muy bien, no se usa y had better tampoco, aunque sí que se puede decir, pero no es muy común escucharlo en negativo, ¿ok? Entonces, por ley, siempre vamos a decir generalmente should, should, should. Negative shouldn't. Es más, should sirve para afirmativo, para negativo y para preguntas, mientras que ought to, had better no sirven para preguntas. Profe, ¿lo puedo decir en negativo? Sí, pero no es común, ¿ok? Not very common, guys. Let's continue then. So, should not, shouldn't, ought to. You can say ought not to, or you can say oughtn't to, oughtn't to. Next, this, as I told you before, this is not very used in negative, okay? No es muy común usarlo en negativo, al igual que had better. So now we have had better not, the negative, and the contraction is with this, okay? So how do you make this, the contraction? We have had. ¿Listo? Ese es por lo tanto el modal. Had better. Pero lo podemos contraer de la siguiente manera. Okay. You can say I'd better. Example number 2. You say you'd better. You'd better. He, we can say he'd better. Okay. She'd better. She'd better. And then we have Eat, eat it better, eat it better. With better, and we have you'd better, and they'd better, they'd. So we make the contraction of had in this way. Apostrophe plus D, okay? They'd, I'd, you'd better. You better not do that, okay? No deberías hacer eso, o algo malo puede pasar. Next, guys, let's talk about some examples. Here we have a common situation of close friends, okay? And in this situation, there's a girl smoking and this girl doesn't want her to smoke. So she tells her, she says this to her, no deberías fumar. You shouldn't smoke. You shouldn't smoke. And shouldn't, you can say you should not smoke, okay? Now, another example, guys. Deberías practicar más, okay? Something that is a little bit stronger. So you ought to practice more. You ought to practice more. You ought to practice more. Let's continue, guys. Now let's talk about questions. Ought to and had better, as I told you before, we don't use it for questions, okay? Remember, this is not very common. Well, this is not used in questions. Not commonly used, incorrect to say this in questions. Now we say for questions, we say should. Example, should I tell him the truth? ¿Debería decirle la verdad? ¿A quién? A él. ¿Debería decirle la verdad? Should I tell him the truth? Recuerden que should es debería. Bien. De hecho, todos estos traducen debería. Bien. Should I help her? Should I help her? ¿Debería ayudarla? ¿Debería ayudarla? I don't know. Yes. No. Okay, go help her. No, don't help her. All right, guys. Now let's talk about the uses. Hablemos un poco de los usos. We use should for subjective opinions, opiniones subjetivas, ¿ok? Algo que estás haciendo y a mí se me ocurre que deberías hacer tal cosa, ¿ok? Now we say ought to for objective opinion, something that goes a little bit deeper. Este es un poquito más formal, es un poquito más para reglas, un poquito más para cosas objetivas, ¿bien? Entonces, que no está respetando en la clase al profesor. So you have to respect the teacher in class. You have to respect the teacher in class. Something that is subjective, a little soft, something that is common, you can say should respect the teacher in class. But this is my opinion. But the rule is ought to, okay? Una cosa es que mi opinión sea que deberías respetar y otra cosa es que realmente debes respetar. También traduce deberías, sin embargo, es algo más objetivo. Esta es la diferencia entre ellos dos en sí. Number 3, had better. Okay, had better is serious. You must, ok. Acá ya es algo más fuerte, más serio. Es algo que deberías hacer, pero si no lo haces, aunque es un consejo, si no lo haces, puede que traiga bad consequences, ok. Possible bad consequences if you don't do it. So you'd, contraction, you'd or you had. You had better do that, otherwise you'll have bad consequences. You had better do that, otherwise you will have bad consequences, okay? Next, guys, let's talk about should. Hablemos entonces de should. Entonces, ¿qué vamos a hacer? Vamos a dividirlos. Hablemos de should, luego hablamos de ought to, y luego hablaremos de had better. In their different structures. Affirmative, negative questions, okay? So, now, here we have deberías ir al doctor, okay? For example, hey son, for example, my mom sometimes tells me certain things and she says, hey, Yesid, I feel sick today. Yesid, me siento un poco enferma hoy, dice mi madre. Entonces yo le digo, hey mom, you should go to the doctor. You should go to the doctor. And remember this. Recuerden entonces, hablemos que should es un verbo modal, por lo tanto, ¿qué sigue después? ¿Qué verbo? La forma simple, ¿ok? This is the simple form of the verb. Simple form of the verb, ¿ok? Simple form of the verb. Now, let's continue. Negative example. No deberías beber más. So, for example, this is my friend Mike. Okay. And Mike says, Ish, Yazid, I'm feeling very dizzy. Okay, I'm feeling very dizzy. Me siento muy mareado. Yo le doy un consejo. Él está haciendo algo, yo le doy un consejo. So I say, okay, just said, okay, vamos a poner mi nombre. Just said, Mike, you shouldn't, okay, this is negative, remember. You should not, or you can say you shouldn't drink. You shouldn't drink anymore, okay? You shouldn't drink anymore. No deberías beber más. You shouldn't drink anymore. So let's see the example. You should not drink anymore, Mike. You feel dizzy. You enjoyed a lot. The party was good. Everyone is happy. Okay, it's late. We should go home. And you should not drink anymore, my friend. Okay? Contraction. You can say shouldn't. Remember, you can say shouldn't. Now let's talk about a question. ¿Debería llamarla? A veces pasan ciertas cosas y nos preguntamos eso, ¿ok? ¿Debería llamarla? How do you say that? You can also say should. Should I call her? Okay, so pay attention here. We have should for affirmative, should for negative, and should for questions. No auxiliaries because this is what? This is a modal verb, okay? So we don't use auxiliaries. No auxiliaries. No auxiliaries. Okay, guys, remember that. Should I call her? ¿Debería llamarla? So let's answer that. Yes, I should call her. Sí, debería llamarla, ok. Me porté mal, fui grosero, ok, ya se molestó. Sí, debería llamarla. Oh no, I shouldn't call her. I shouldn't call her. No, yo no me porté mal, yo no hice nada malo. No, no debería llamarla, ok. No, I shouldn't call her. So, just keep this in mind, guys. This is the most used modal for the expressing advice. A ese vamos a darle una estrellita. ¿Por qué? Porque es el más usado de todos. Entonces, recuérdenlo, generalmente el que más usamos es este. Pero también van a escuchar, van a leer, van a ver en una que otra situación, ought to. Example, deberíamos salir esta noche, ¿ok? Estamos estresados, ¿ok? Regla de hoy, salir esta noche. So, we ought to go out tonight. We ought to go out tonight. Contraction, no contraction, ¿ok? No deberías manejar tan rápido. Recuerden, uno es subjetivo, should, y ought to es más objetivo. No deberías manejar tan rápido. You ought not to drive so fast. Ok, aquí tuve un error con los colores. Este to va en rojo. Bien, ¿por qué? Porque es parte del modal. Recuerden que drive va en forma simple. O si no, to drive sería un verbo infinitivo. To drive. This is infinitive. But that is not the idea here. We're using modals, so when I say drive, this is the simple form, okay? So remember this, guys. I'm sorry for the mistake, but I didn't, well, I reviewed everything, I checked everything, but sometimes I just forget to correct something, and there was a little detail I forgot to do, okay? So you ought not to drive so fast. Next. What is the contraction, teacher? You can say, okay, you can say oughtn't to. Oughtn't to. Podemos decir también oughtn't to. Aunque, como ya les había dicho, generalmente ought to no se usa para negar. Normalmente en afirmativo. Pero pues sí que lo pueden ver. No es muy común ni escucharlo, ni verlo, ok. De pronto sí verlo en uno que otro libro, en uno que otro texto, pero escucharlo casi que no. Bien. A no ser que sean muy formales. Now, this is had better. This is strong advice. This is my strong advice. If you don't do it, something bad could happen, okay? If you don't do it, aquí estamos hablando de una cláusula que ya hemos visto anteriormente. If you don't do it, si no lo haces, something bad could happen, okay? No sé si se acuerdan de esto, muchachos. Acá tenemos el presente simple. Esto lo habíamos hablado en las cláusulas del futuro. Simple present versus simple present versus future. Simple future. Okay, simple future. In this case, we don't have the simple future. We have could. Profe, ¿y dónde está el futuro? No está, pero could, recuerden, could no siempre es el pasado de can. Could a veces expresa probabilidad. Probability, okay? Possibility. Possibility. So you guys, we can talk about possibility using could. Si no lo haces, algo malo podría pasar. Y no estamos hablando del pasado, estamos hablando de un futuro cercano, ¿cierto? So if you don't do it, something bad could happen. All right. So deberíamos usar el cinturón de seguridad. How do you say that? We had better wear the seat belt. We had better wear the seat belt. Como ya les había dicho, podemos contraer, pero de la siguiente manera. El sujeto con had, y eso se hace de esta manera. Okay, sorry, I didn't put the contraction here. What is the contraction? We can say, guys, we can say with. With better. Cuando decimos with, pues ya no decimos had. Y del otro modo, ok. With better wear the seat belt. Deberíamos usar el cinturón de seguridad. Next, negative. Remember, this is not very common to say have better in negative, but we say it. We see it sometimes. We can read this in certain texts, in certain books. So something that could happen, right? No deberías tocar eso. You have better not. You have better not touch that. You have better not touch that. Or the contraction you'd. Recuerden también la contracción, como ya la habíamos visto acá. La contracción la tenemos acá con had y el sujeto. You'd better not touch that. You better not touch that. Okay. Let's continue, guys. And thank you. The class is over. This was everything for today. I hope you understand. I hope you got it all. And I'll see you later, okay? Next class is going to be next week. And if you have any questions, please text me. Please type something on the comments. I'll see you later. Bye-bye, guys.